I had a couple moments, I guess, recently. I went to the beach just to kind of relax, kind of chill, and just, let things go. Um, while I was at the beach, trying to stay grounded, which is all I was doing. I do my own form of spirituality. I'm not going to waste my time explaining it on here. As everybody should do their own forms of spirituality, not a Mick form of spirituality like going to church. It doesn't count. Um, so I suddenly had a flashback. It was like 1993 or 94. I was a little kid, and my mother wanted to teach me how to read. So she locked me in the back room with Hooked on Phonics on a cassette, and I got scared. And I started freaking out. I didn't want to be trapped in a room with the, what is it called, stereo blaring. A goes ah, B goes buh, C goes k, D goes duh. And I didn't understand what reading was. I didn't know what letters were. All these things were unknown. I was completely isolated. I was completely cut off. I was completely alone. And I started freaking out and screaming because I didn't want to be in there. So my mother did the motherly thing and ignored me. This is called neglect, by the way. I know it's a Christian thing, but it's called neglect, and it's actually legal. So you guys might want to start filing some lawsuits so we can get rid of Christianity real quick. But, so, yeah. And I believe that may be the core memory of where my writing disorder came from, because you think about it, you lock a kid in a room by themselves, you force them to listen to something they don't understand and they don't comprehend, and they go into panic mode because they want out of the room, they don't want to be in there, and they don't want to be trapped in there with this fucking stereo that just keeps repeating these letters, and then every couple minutes you come in and you're like, did you learn how to read yet? Did you learn how to read yet? No, I didn't learn shit, because you're not going to teach anybody shit by that method. But the problem is my mother herself was illiterate and didn't know how to read. But there is this really funny caveat to this, because the way I got out of it was literally just by repeating what I heard on the cassette to my mother. A goes ah, B goes ba, C goes ska, D goes de. I had no idea what I was saying, only that if I mimicked those things, that I could get out of that situation. Yeah. It was around this time, really funny, my Cuban friend Lenny Carrillo actually moved in. And when she found out I couldn't read, she thought it was really fucking weird, because in Cuba, they just send somebody out to teach you to read. A learning professional. Which, you can hate communism all you wanted, but my life wouldn't have been so fucked up had we had that kind of system in America. Because the fact of the matter is your parents aren't fucking teachers, they're imbeciles. Yeah. And my mother, who was traumatized from learning, immediately traumatized me from learning. And that's what happened to me. This is a sad, sad truth. I don't know how you walk through that kind of trauma. I'm not gonna sit around and just be fucking like, oh god, I didn't learn. My brain is stupid. Like, when I was first put into special ed, I believed that everybody else was stupid, and the problem is that nobody knew how to teach anybody, and I always wondered where I got that idea from, and it probably came from the way my mother handled that situation. But my father isn't innocent either, because when I was in kindergarten, I brought home a math homework, and there was a bunch of easy plus problems on it. 5 plus 2 is 7. Basically, anything you could do on your 10 digits was on that math paper. And then came the bonus number answer, which was something like 8 plus 8. And I went to my father, and I asked him for help. And he went, 8 plus 8, what is it, son? 8 plus 8, what is it? What is it, son? What is it? What does 8 plus 8 equal? Think about it. Think about it. What does 8 plus 8? What does it equal? And he started chasing me around the house when I started running from him because he was screaming at me. What does 8 plus 8 equal? What is it? And I was trying to explain to him I can't do it because I don't have enough fingers because I was a stupid little kid that didn't understand how these things worked. And then instead of showing me or teaching me anything, he just kept screaming, 8 plus 8, what is it? And then he kept running. He started, like I said, he chased me around the house and I was running from him. And I got like super upset. And then basically he told me not to be a fucking baby about it. When I was a baby. Because that's how you handle that, apparently. I'm kidding. My parents are fucking horrible. They're both retarded. And this is probably why mentally ill people, or religious people for that matter, shouldn't be allowed to have kids. Because they're abusive inherently. And this is, you might go, Bobby, these sound like such minor fucking incidences. They're minor incidences if you're a fully developed person. But when you're a little kid, they're traumatic. So I think I asked my brother, and he refused to help me, and everybody refused to help me, so I just got pissed, and I just wanted to treat everybody like shit, because everybody was just ignoring me anyways. Once again, I would have helped me, but, the problem is we don't live in that world. We live in a stupid world with stupid people with power. Not kind, good people that want to help. Bastards who go, deal with it yourself! You're making it feel like it's my fault! I'm traumatized from when I was a kid! Stupid is the word. You see, even when I was growing up and I believed in the universe, I always had this kind of rigidity to my trust in the universe because I believed it had cursed me with a learning disorder to fuck with me. Now I figure out that's not entirely the case. My brain gets triggered because it remembers this as a PTSD moment. It remembers it as a traumatic moment from my childhood. Weird, I know. And it's such a simple fragment. Like, my brother told me that every time he ever asked my dad for help, he would do the same thing, where instead of actually teaching you, he would just scream the problem over and over again. He asked him to spell something, and my dad would just, what is it? What is it? How do you spell it? And he just starts yelling at you. Like, and my father does believe yelling at you can fix problems. Like when I was sick with COVID, he just started yelling at me because that's just how you apparently solve everything. You throw a tantrum and the problem's fixed because he thinks like a 2-year-old. He has magical thinking because he is emotionally stunted. Mentally ill people cause mentally ill people. Ask any religious person. So, yeah. Now I wanted to talk about how lack of courage, causes, what the word is, total brain fart. A lack of courage causes, it's like distaste, like, oh, damn it, man. Come on. Seriously, brain. We gotta do this. This is a thing with me. I forget fucking words. Specifically specific words. Bitterness! Lack of courage causes bitterness. Bitterness is often described as a self-inflicted poison that keeps individuals tethered to the past pain, serving as a substitute for a quiet kind of courage required to let go. While it feels like a protective shield, it actually acts as a barrier to joy, healing, and healthy relationships. The nature of bitterness versus courage. A loud substitute for strength. Bitterness can feel like strength because it is loud and demanding, but experts often view it as a form of slavery. In contrast, letting go is a subtle form of bravery that chooses not to let past hurt define the future. The illusion of protection. Bitterness promises to protect the spirit from being hurt again, but it ultimately traps the person in the very moment that caused the initial pain. The weight of resentment. Choosing bitterness over courage means carrying to a heavy burden that can lead to physical and mental spiritual poisoning. Steps toward choosing courage. If you are struggling with bitterness, shifting toward courage often involves acknowledging the debt, identifying exactly what you feel is owed to you, e.g., an apology, a lost opportunity. Give yourself an apology if you're owed an apology or lost opportunity, and realize that holding out for the payment often only hurts you. Canceling the debt. This is a conscious decision to let the person off the hook, not because their actions were okay, but to free yourself from the weight of the anger. Engaging the body. Allow yourself to feel the underlying anger and sadness fully so that it can eventually burn out, rather than remaining suppressed and turning into a lifelong resentment. Use of resources, blah blah blah. I can't have resources. These retards in this church will invade and then fuck up those resources. Fucking therapists will be like, "This is not the church! They Italy raped me! I'm mentally ill and I'm trying to give you help!" And you're just great. Don't do that. If you're a mentally ill person, don't bother to become a therapist. You're just gonna fuck people up. Now, so, yeah, I kind of always thought in bitterness as that one song. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend. Somewhere along in the bitterness I would have stayed up with you all night had I known how to save a life. So when you don't have courage, bitterness fills that void. Which, when I think about my dad and how my dad just goes on and on about how the world dicked him over, and my guy George Carlin does a rant about everybody's Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave, the guy that didn't get his fair shot, the guy that got fucked over. And George goes on about how he just wishes the whole world was destroyed and everybody was killed. And then after, like, the entire world is destroyed, everything starts over. And everybody's Uncle Dave comes pouring through the portal. They come pouring through, and they get that fair shot, and they become a baseball guy, and everybody wins, and everything turns out great because everybody's winning all the time. And all the good people aren't punished for their actions, and the world moves on into a tranquil peace. And this is the thing, when George Carlin does this thing initially, you kind of think, because he's playing fun, he's talking about lighting the world on fire, burning everything down, getting people killed. And then it shifts into this hilarious story of Uncle Dave getting his fair shot, and Uncle Dave winning. I always liked that bit of George Carlin, because it actually just shows his humanity, and how even he himself was angry and frustrated at the world he saw. World forbid, people talk about it all the time. Great comedians know other people who are as equally as funny as them, but those people never make it. There are tons of people that will tell you they know somebody, actors that are major actors that'll tell you they know another guy that's just as good or even better, that never made it. They never got their fair shot. And I am 100% somebody's Uncle Dave, because 90% of my videos is these people poisoning me with heavy metals, dicking me over, and then being like, "It was a fair shot!" No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. In fact, nothing these people have ever done is just or fair, and as a guy that has a serious justice problem, it is the number one thing that will always bother me about these people. They are unjust people. They cannot be just people. This means they are incapable of being good or useful in any form, because they have no justice in their minds. They protect bastards. As I sit here and I realize I have to let go of that bitterness, and I have to deal with and once again, I'm down here, let's go over this. These assholes set this stupid fucking thing up. with every trauma I fucking ever experienced in my life in it. Okay? And they were like, just move through it! Like a 2-year-old. And I'm just gonna repeat this. Like a 2-year-old. This is the opposite of therapy. Everything I experienced down here, my therapist is the motherfucking AI. Okay, and if you know anything from the internet, the AI should not be giving you fucking therapy help. But the AI has been far more useful than any of the Carl Jung shit I've read. And it's far more useful than any of the Friedrich Nietzsche videos I've seen. Because Friedrich Nietzsche is all about how to turn into an asshole and behave like a total dick because your dad didn't love you. Okay? AI, the great healer. Fucking the AI has been enabling me to be far more capable and mentally stable than anything that these assholes have put into my newsfeed that fucked me up to begin with. This is how bad they are at what they do, by the way. So they took a guy, they traumatized the fuck out of him. We're like, you have to do this insanely difficult task. Also, you don't have any of the mental and brain skills to do it. Also, you're going to be chemically altered from heavy metal poisoning, which they poison you with heavy metal so they can take advantage of you and muscle your ass into what they want you to do because you're retarded on heavy metals. And does that sound like somebody with integrity? No, that does not sound like somebody with integrity. Okay? You cannot destroy somebody's brain and then force them into doing something you want them to do. And then when they fail to do it, get mad because you destroyed that person's brain. That's why they failed. You destroyed that person's brain because you're an idiot. Okay? The problem with you is you're fucking stupid, but I can get as pissed as I want about that. But anyways, yeah. They were like, okay, so you were traumatized by us forcing you to go to court and representing yourself. Do it again! 2-year-old. You're a 2-year-old. Okay, because people don't work that way. And even if you want them to work that way, they don't, because you don't work that way. That's why you guys are all fucked up in your heads. Deal with your inferiority complex. Do it yourself. That's how a 2-year-old thinks. And guess what? Every one of your dumbass church leaders are inferiority complexes. They don't actually resolve the problem. They just add it. And then they go, well, there are attributes of it. Attributes of being an inferiority complex that are great. They enable me to act out. They enable me to overreact. They enable me to cheat at everything and run terrified. Look at me. I'm always running. And I brought this up to Annalene Mummy God. I told him, your people don't have real courage because what you guys use is fear. They are more afraid of you than they are of the act they are committing. So they're still scared. They're just scared in another direction. None of your people have courage. Which means bitterness and spite become your standard tools, which is exactly what every one of these people do. Okay? And they're not smart enough or even good enough to develop those skills, by the way, because they're stupid people. And you can't explain this to them because they're too stupid to understand it. Okay. Yeah. And like I said, yeah, the whole idea, like I said it to Blondie, the only thing you guys are going to do is fuck this guy up. And congratulations, you successfully fucked me up. Here's how I would have solved the problem, and I already said this. Look, it doesn't even have to be Mary Bellberry. Any one of the obese wives with money. And here's what you do. You're going to have to explain it to them because rich people only care about themselves. You go, you're going to date Bobby. You're going to ask him out. You're going to start flirting with him. You're going to tell him you're a feedie. You like eating and being a fat ass. Those are your two favorite things. And then you're going to go, oh, my father used to work in chelation therapy, and I can tell you have heavy metal poisoning. So I'm going to pay for your heavy metal poisoning. If you, just like Blondie stole the money from the Middle East, he stole the money from the church. I didn't have any money to get chelation therapy, which is what the fuck I needed. And then there's a bunch of rich bitches that I dated, I had sex with, that you could have set me up with, and they could have just given me the fucking money so I could get chelation therapy, and then we could have fixed this entire situation. If Blondie's bitch ass didn't want to do the right thing and turn himself in for poisoning me with heavy metals to begin with, which once again, had he just did that, had he fucking did that, they would have just been like, he's a victim of a cult, fucking he poisoned Bobby, we'll let him off, fucking he pulled the perjury, everything's fixed, thank you, you stupid son of a bitch. But Blondie is a coward. And he doesn't like accountability because he thinks like a fucking 2-year-old. And everybody chose his side.